Hello, everyone. Once again, Conservative Hispanic Network. We are reaching you here from the United States, and we are your Hispanic conservative voice. Uh, we want to talk to you. We want to talk to all the Hispanics in the United States, but also we want to reach to everyone in the United States. We want to show you and we want to demonstrate to you how conservative Hispanics in the United States think, what are the issues that we care, what are our viewpoint. So if you want to know how the Hispanic conservative community think and how are we looking into the issues in the United States, you came to the right place. Conservative Hispanic Network. Once again, we are talking to the whole world about what's going on in the United States and the hot issues of the moment. And once again with me, Jeffrey Kihien from Washington, D.C. Hello, Jeffrey. How are you?
Hello, Ronnie. Thank you very much for the invitation, and thank you very much at all the people that's watching us around the world, listening to our concepts and trying to explain what is going on in the United States and what happened recently with the election of Mr. Donald Trump, historically election, re-election.
Also, also from Miami, Mario Lopez, MBA. How are you?
Doing great, Ronnie. Jeffrey, nice to see you again. Thank you for the invitation. And it's thank you for creating this roundtable so that we can give the Hispanics in the United States a voice, a conservative voice. We know that with the current news networks that we have, mainstream media, they don't really have that option. So, hello, everybody.
Basically, they don't care about our opinion, the left wing mainstream media. And listen, people believe that all Hispanics are represented by Ana Navarro. That's false, okay? Or Alexandra Ocasio-Cortez. That is also not the situation. That's not the case. There are
Or
many
Jennifer Lopez. We are not represented by Jennifer Lopez or for
of
Bad
course not.
Bunny. Bad
Of course
Bunny.
not. That's not the case. There are many conservative within the Hispanic community, and that's what we want to show you. That's why we want to show the world, the United States, the world. Listen, we are Hispanics in America. We are here. We exist. Actually, we show our presence just very recently in the elections with bigger than ever Hispanic Republican conservative vote. So we are here. We are here and we are not going anywhere. So that's what Conservative Hispanic Network is about. We want to be the Hispanic conservative voice in America, and we want to reach you. We want to reach everybody who is looking at us right now, so you understand and you can see our viewpoint. So the biggest news of the month, of the year, of the maybe of the century is the re-election of Donald Trump as president of the United States. That is history in the making. It's a world-changing event, literally. It's an event that is going to all history books, and it's just unbelievable, amazing. A man that did the greatest comeback ever into American politics, and the greatest comeback ever, perhaps in the world, in the history of the world, as a politician or in elections. We need to understand that President Trump went through a demonization process by the press. About 85-90% of all the mainstream left-wing media, CNN, CBS, etc., demonized President Trump like no one ever have been demonized. All the propaganda from the press, all the propaganda from Hollywood, from the star, from Oprah, from Robert De Niro, they depict President Trump as a criminal, as a felon, about 95% negative coverage in the media. All the legal fake cases that he went through, the Department of Justice, fake cases that I mentioned that before many times, they were completely fake. They were completely politicized. Jack Smith, a special counselor, did a terrible job. That it was based not on the law, but basically on just a mission. He have a mission from the deep state. He have a mission from Trump haters within DOJ, and from the White House, from Biden's White House, to destroy Trump. And then all these minor people in New York and in Georgia, these local prosecutors, they try to make a name for themselves. They try to become famous, to go to history books. I'm going to prosecute the former president of the United States, also with fake charges that nobody ever had been prosecuted for. And the press tried to sell that to the American people, and the American people say, "Bologna, that's BS. We don't believe in you. You lost all credibility. We know that these charges are fake charges. We know that this felon thing and criminal thing is Bologna. It's nothing." And it was the greatest strategic defeat ever of the American propaganda, left-wing mainstream media. And he came back. I mean, and not only that, but all the attacks, the assassination attempts, he was 2 millimeters from being killed. I mean, it was a miracle from God that he just changed his head for a second, and that saved his life. That was just amazing. That was divine providence, on the work. And against all odds and against all the attacks and all the demonization from the press 24/7, he won. He is the president-elect of the United States as of now, as of December 2024, and hopefully soon, with the grace of God, in January 20, he will become again the 47th president of the United States. This is just amazing, historic moment by all means. Jeffrey, what do you have to say about all this, about President Trump coming back to the White House?
Well, just gonna mention or add what you are saying, that he was taking out the ballot, I think in Colorado or Nevada. It was in Nevada, right? He was suppressed from the ballot, from the election ballot in Nevada.
Oh, there were also many legal cases. They don't want him on the ballot. They don't. They went to court. Many left-wing activists. No, he's a felon. He should not be on the ballot. No, he's under investigation. He's indicted by all these BS, desperate efforts to try to take him down. I mean, they throw everything at him, everything they have. They throw everything. I mean, Hollywood, Oprah, Jennifer Lopez, CNN, and MSNBC, all these fake news, left-wing propaganda media. They try everything. And this court, you're absolutely right. They try to challenge him and to remove him from the ballots in several states. So that's absolutely right.
Well, not only the media in the United States, but the global media. I participated in the open forum in Spain, organized by the Complutense University, and all the panel, were like 7 journalists from Spain, were against Trump, just repeating the same script from the global media, exactly what you are saying. But the main point here, Ronnie, is that the media and the actors from Hollywood, they thought that we were stupid, that we couldn't think by ourselves. We couldn't see what everything that is happening was fake, right? Or still is fake, because after the election of Donald Trump, we see what is happening right now. Biden organized a new escalate in the war against Ukraine. That is a key point just for next month. That's gonna set the course of Donald Trump for many months, or maybe for the 4 years on his presidency. I hope he succeed on stopping the war once and for all.
Well, we are going to talk very soon about the war in the next following program. Now, before going to Mario, let me explain you something that people don't realize, and I want to explain it to the public right now, real fast. What you just mentioned, why the press in Spain is so much against Trump, and why the press in Germany is so much against Trump, and why the press in France, and why the press in Italy, and why the press in the UK. Listen, I know why. I lived in Spain for several years. I was there. I understood. I went to England. I went to London, and I talked to the press over there in London. I understand what's going on. Listen, 90% of the press in the United States, 85% of the mainstream media is left-wing. They are leftists. They are all controlled by the Democratic Party. They all repeat the propaganda talking points of the Democratic Party. And only a small percentage of news and reporters are conservative. I mean, and they are small. I mean, with the exception of Fox News, okay, that have in the editorial a conservative leaning, and perhaps Breitbart and perhaps Newsmax. Everybody else is left-wing. Everybody else is leftist. Everybody else just repeat the talking points of the Democratic Party, and they all hate Trump, and they all hate conservative. They all hate Christian. They all hate everything that it has to be with a conservative right-wing movement. And all these people from Europe, especially from Deutsche Welle, from Die Welt, from Le Figaro, from Televisión Española, from Radio Televisión Italiana, from the BBC, they are also leftists. But not that they are also leftists. They come to America, they send a representative here to the United States and to Washington and to New York. And guess what all those representatives do when they are here in the United States? They join forces with the leftists of the United States because they don't care about the small conservative press or the small conservative media. The local radio in Ohio, they don't care. The local TV station in Wisconsin, they don't care. The conservative media in Kentucky, they don't care about the heartland of the United States. They care about CNN, they care about CBS, ABC, the New York Times, the Washington Post. Those are their heroes, and they want to join with them. And everything that they said, all BS that they said, all this media, they immediately listen to them and just like they parrot them, and they send it to Berlin, and they send it to Frankfurt, and they send it to Madrid, and they send it to London, and they send it to Rome, and that's it. They just parrot all the left-wing propaganda media that they hear here in the United States from this left-wing media. They parrot it, they copy and paste, and then they present it in their countries. But even worse, because they don't really know what's going on.
So they don't know the reality.
They don't know the reality.
Information right now because only one podcast, Joe Rogan podcast have more views than all the corporate media around the world. All of them.
And they don't understand. They live in their bubble in New York City, surrounded by liberal people, surrounded by left-wing people, or they live in their bubble in Washington, D.C., surrounded by liberal people, by liberal media. They don't understand, and they don't know what the blue-collar workers of Ohio are, or the blue-collar workers of Wisconsin, or the Bible Belt conservative of Tennessee. They don't give a damn about that. They don't understand. They don't care. They care about I want to see what Anderson Cooper is going to say. He's my hero. I want to know. And then whatever Anderson Cooper BS says, they copy and paste and they present. That is why all the left wing, all the media in Europe, in Germany, in France is so left-wing. They just copy and paste the BS that our left-wing media says here. Mario, what do you have to say? Trump came back, finally.
It's amazing. I think I want to write a book called The Most Successful Man in the History of Our Country. When you think about it, I cannot think of a better example than Donald Trump, going from being a successful entrepreneur, engaging in so many different venues, running for president, gets stolen out of the presidency, and comes back becoming only the second person in the history of the United States to serve 2 terms that are non-consecutive. The first one was Grover Cleveland. Donald Trump's comeback signals something that when you start looking, and I haven't finished digesting all the numbers, but when you start looking at all the statistics, it's very important that people realize that the Hispanic vote was key, was decisive. The amount of Hispanic vote is what actually catapulted Trump not only to win the election, but to win the popular vote, to win the House and to win the Senate. And what you were saying about the Bible Belt, that they don't understand, there are many similarities between those conservatives and the Hispanics. We are traditionally conservative people. We come from conservative values. That's what we learn throughout the colonization process of Spain in the Americas, all the way to today. That's what we practice. We have a father, we have a mother, we have children. We don't sign up for all this craziness that suddenly I decide I'm a dinosaur and you have to recognize me as such. No, we are logical people. We think, we can see with our own eyes that if you look like a man, you have an Adam's apple, you have a mustache, you have a beard, you're not a woman. I don't care what you tell me you are. And I'm going to take it one step further. If a man dressed like a woman tries to go into the bathroom when my daughter goes into that bathroom, he's going to have to go through me and he's not going to make it. And those conservative values, I'm sorry to go off the woke agenda, but those conservative values are exactly what were represented in Donald Trump in this election. When you look at the election results, remember how the days before we did a program and I was looking at the statistics and I was telling you that I was cautiously optimistic because Trump was the very first time that he was leading on the polls, but inside the margin of error. And I was very worried that that was very susceptible to another fraud. But in that, I also made a comment saying, if the polls are saying this, I have a feeling that the advantage is much larger. And I remember saying that night, if Trump wins Pennsylvania, North Carolina, and Georgia, he wins the presidency. I was still thinking that Arizona was going to go by the wayside because of what they did to Kerry Lake just 2 years ago. Well, he even won Arizona. Why? Because Arizona is full of conservative Mexicans, people that come from Mexico. When you look at states like Nevada, when you look at all these swing states that we were so concerned about, when you look at the presence of Hispanics in all of them, it's very high.
Even California. Mario. Even
California became purple. California became purple. California is a state that has been voting Democrat since Clinton, maybe even before. I think it was
Clinton, yes.
When they went.
Reagan was the last one.
Huh?
Reagan was the last one on winning California.
In California, yeah. That was Reagan. Yeah, that was it in 1984. After that, they went in 88 with Dukakis and so on and so forth. But it's because of the presence of the Hispanics and the complete lunacy that the left has targeted. The left has gone completely the left way, the socialist way, and repeating the things that we have heard in our countries that we know where they lead to. I don't know if you know what I mean.
Yeah. Well, the night of the election, I went out here in Washington, D.C. I was on talk with the bartenders, busboys, and waiters, Hispanic waiters, and all of them voted for Trump. And when I asked why, The answer was simple, because I wanted to buy a house. And right now it's impossible. I just wanted to buy a house. It's what they tell me. Okay, yeah,
Inflation.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, the most successful man in the history of our country, there's a reason for that. His presidency was incredibly successful. He stopped inflation. He put us in energy independence. He gave all these advantages that they all start in the economy. It doesn't matter how you slice it. A person turns to a life of crime when they have no more opportunity. Well, that's a very philosophical, positive way to look at it. But in many cases, people that traditionally would not go into a life of crime go into a life of crime because they need to put food on the table. When Donald Trump was in office, unemployment was so low that we had more jobs available than the people actually looking for jobs. That is a successful presidency. That trickles down to bring down crime. When you bring down crime, people are happier. When people are happier, they go out and spend more. The economy gets moving. You reduce the interest. Now you can buy a house. Now you have more money in your pocket. You can go to the store. The store is selling more. They need to hire somebody else. And all that at the same time, every time a store, somebody, any business hires a person, it's one person less collecting unemployment that comes out of our taxes. Completely the opposite of what the left was proposing. I loved how Donald Trump closed the debate with Kamala Harris. He said, everything she's promising to do, she can do right now. Why hasn't she? Well, he's right.
Yeah.
He's going to go there.
It makes no sense. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that. Okay, do it now.
Do it, exactly.
But now you're the vice president right now of the United States. Do it now.
And you are, by the Constitution, the president of the Senate. You control the calendar of what's going to be in the Senate.
And also, most Hispanics were against open borders. Most Hispanics that I asked.
Jeffrey, I want to elaborate a little bit of that. I want to say that most Hispanics who are here legally.
Legally, yeah. Well, legally and illegally.
Basically, the ones of us that can vote, because we came here legally and we followed the law. Yeah. Well, the ones that can actually vote want that border closed. Why? I look at my personal example where my wife spent 15 years of her life without seeing her dad because she needed to come legally.
Exactly, yes.
And every one of us has a story like that in our family. You know, and it's not fair that all these people are skipping the line and suddenly they're being given all these benefits, free housing in luxury hotels in New York City where I cannot afford to stay.
Immediately. Mario, I have a question for you. What happened with the 20 million extra votes that Biden had in the last election, in 2016, in 2020? Where are they?
You keep trying to drag me into that, but I am not going to fall into the fraud conversation. But this is very simple. If in 2016 Hillary Clinton gets 70 million votes, I don't know the exact number, and in 2020 Biden gets 81 million votes, and in 2024 Kamala goes down to the 70s, something happened. What happened? COVID. What happened? There's a very, very interesting documentary called 2000 Mules. I suggest you go watch it because this election just proved that everything that is said in that documentary is 100% accurate. There was a massive fraud here, and I cannot wait for the handcuffs. When Mr. Patel takes office as the FBI director, I really hope he launches a deep investigation on what happened in that election.
Well, Biden is going to pardon everyone, eh? Everyone.
Yeah. What's that about, Ronnie? You know more about the church than I do. Isn't pardoning the business of the church? You know, your salvation. You go to confession, they give you a pardon. You do some type of penitence, and then you're pardoned. Now Biden thinks he's the Pope. Did he get confused at some point?
Well, I think it was an embarrassment for the Democrats because they were talking for months, actually for years. They were talking about that they have the high moral standards. They have the
He's
high
not going to pardon
ground.
his son, yeah.
That they will not do pardons of Hunter Biden. That is not going to happen. And suddenly, after many promises, after many, oh, he will never do that. I will not do that. Never will happen. He doesn't. He did it. He pardoned his son. And that was a terrible embarrassment.
Ronnie,
And furthermore, in the letter that he wrote, that Joe Biden wrote, trying to explain the reasons behind, he said that it was a politicized and a political prosecution. So he's accepting and confessing that the DOJ, his DOJ, is basically a political tool. He
that's what Trump
confesses.
has been saying
Are
all
you
along.
saying that your DOJ is a political entity that do political prosecution, just like Donald Trump have been saying for the last 2-3 years? Thank you for saying what Donald Trump have been saying for the last 3 years.
But also, he denied all the charges. He denied what was discovered in Hunter laptop for many years. So they were saying, no, it's fake, it's fake. And also the global media, the corporate media was saying the same, right? Everything is fake, it's fake. It is an intelligence operation by the Russians. And
at the end, it was real. And I want to talk to that point real fast before closing, because we're going to close real fast. But let me do a very small, fast comment. The level of lies, the level of desperate propaganda, desperate brainwashing propaganda from the left, from the media, was so high that even liberal left-wing people with common sense, they figure out this is BS. Even liberal people, Bill Maher, he's a liberal. He's an atheist. He's a left-wing guy. He's a left-wing dude forever. And he accepted on his show that all this BS about Donald Trump wanting to kill Liz Cheney and put her in front so people can shoot at her. He mentioned in his show, this is BS. Don't lie to me. Because all the media was saying that, oh, Donald Trump said that he wants to kill Liz Cheney, that he's going to put Liz Cheney so soldiers can shoot at her. He wants to kill her. He wants to assassinate Liz Cheney. And then Bill Maher, a left-wing liberal Democrat Party member for I don't know, for all his life, he said, don't lie to me. And then when he showed the full clip of what Donald Trump was saying during the interview is, oh, Liz Cheney is a warmonger. Liz Cheney is very comfortable sending young men and women to die from her very comfortable office in Washington, D.C., from the Congress. And then what Donald Trump said, okay, let's going to give Liz Cheney a rifle. Let's going to send her to the battlefront. Let's going to send her to the war zone so she can face the enemy. And let's see if she's still a warmonger. So that's basically what Donald Trump said, that let's going to send her over there to see if she's still a warmonger after being in combat, after being in the war zone. Nothing to do with assassinating her or anything like that. Mr. Wonderful from the Shark Tank, Mr. Wonderful, he's a very famous businessman, entrepreneur, investor. He went to CNN. I mean, and CNN got like an egg in their face. He said, listen, this corruption and charges of Trump, that they want to find him for $500 million. This is BS. This is nonsense. Trump did what every investor in America does. He did what every person who wants to sell a car in the United States does. He said that his properties cost a lot of money. Then the buyer said, no, it costs this amount of money. And then they negotiate, and then they get into a middle agreeable price. That's what everybody does. Mr. Wonderful said, if you want to sell a car, your car, like millions of America, you put a very high price, the buyers come with a low price, you negotiate, and you settle for a price.
Well, the final war is always on the lender.
Yeah. But
the lender decides the cost of your
they
property.
charge Trump for doing what every investor and what every person in America who wants to sell a property or a car does. And
for a loan that was fully paid already.
Exactly.
And this is the part that killed me about that, Ronnie. This is the part that killed me. They're judging him in New York for a property in Florida. why is New York sticking their nose in Florida's real estate business? If there was a Florida real estate law broken, he should be tried in Florida.
Yeah. I mean, they
And
came
if
with the
it was
excuse that the
if it
Trump.
was an issue, hang on, if it was an issue with the federal ruling of how mortgage loans should be governed, then it should have been at federal court.
Yeah,
not
what
in
happened
Florida.
is that they came with the excuse that the Trump organization have their headquarters in New York, and that's the headquarters of the company. But still, Mr. Wonderful said, and many experts said, listen, these charges are BS. This is what everybody does. And if you want to charge Trump, then you need to charge, I don't know how many millions and millions of people in New York, and how many hundreds of millions, dozens of millions of people in the United States, because this is what every single American who wants to sell that property or wants to sell a car do every single day. So that's absolutely BS. Jeffrey, your last comment just to close this short show about the amazing comeback of Donald Trump to the presidency of the United States.
Well, I think the American people and most people around the world see the light at the end of the tunnel, because these last 4 years were hell. Look what is happening in the Middle East. Look what is happening in Europe, where the prices of energy are very, very high. Look what is happening with this woke ideology that is infesting all school systems around the world. And I think it's gonna, I hope this is the end of it. I hope so.
Mario, your final comments. Amazing comeback of Donald Trump.
My final comment
Hopefully,
is,
if he survived, let's pray to God that he survived, because there are so many evil people in the world that wants still to take him down. If he survives, he will become the 47th president on the next January 20th.
you know what, Ronnie, if he survives, I am confident in God that he will, only because if it wasn't God's will that he goes back to the White House, he would not have turned his head in Pennsylvania the way he did when he did it. And that bullet would have gone into his head instead of his ear. So I am confident in God that God has a purpose for him. Of course, he has a purpose for all of us, but for him in particular, I think that path is to the White House. And the last thing I want to say is that I want to rejoice in the fact that the liberal meltdown will be even bigger this 4 years than it was when his first presidency, because they are going to at some point realize that if they would not have committed the fraud they did in 2020, today we would be 41 days away from Donald Trump leaving the White House forever. Right now we're 41 days awaiting for him to come back, and he is going to be the president of the United States during the 250th anniversary of our country.
But
there is no bigger slap in the face than that.
It's still everything is or goes around Donald Trump in the liberal media. Even right now, everything 24/7.
Without him, they have no ratings whatsoever.
Exactly. Yes.
Well, gentlemen, thank you very much for your time, and thank you very much for your presence and your comments. Again, we are Conservative Hispanic Network. We want to be not only the voice of the Hispanics, the conservative Hispanics in the United States, but we want everybody to listen to us. We're looking for everybody and everyone to listen to us. If you want to know what conservative from the Hispanic viewpoint think, what we say, what our viewpoint is, please come to Hispanic Conservative Network. Thank you very much, everybody. Please subscribe to the channel, like the program, and be in alert, be ready, because we are coming back very, very soon. Thank you very, very much, everyone. Good night, everyone.
Good night, everybody. Thank you.
Night.